But I'm sure I can work a simple television remote.
The batteries must be dead.
Hey Internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to The Ladder. So we are gonna continue on with Marianne's late night thing with Luke. Oh god, I'm a little bit scared about this, so let's see what happens. The best thing about having my condo so close to the pub is ease of access. As long as I can stand around and walk, I can make it home. Maybe I need help from a kind neighbor or two to help me up with the last leg if I really gone overboard on alcohol. But I always made it home. Sometimes with company. Of course, it always comes with complications, especially with the real clingy ones. But it isn't anything good tip about stalkers to the building security can't fix. Well, that's good, I guess. I'm always nervous though, even if this isn't the first time I've done this. And the first few minutes when we enter the room are the first few agonizing minutes where I try not to panic. Okay. Look, I'm not gonna judge Marianne if she does this normally, like she sleeps with random people every now and then. I have no problem with that, just as long as she's doing it safely and everything. It just sucks because, like, she doesn't know this is her next client, you know what I mean? Okay, Mac, so good so far. Don't let him smell your fear under all that liquid courage. He'll leave sooner or later, and I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. I'd like to say myself that the men I brought to my place were more scared than I was, yet there was no fear when I looked into Whiskey's eyes, or only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him against the door. Roughness is to be expected. As long as he sticks to the script, everything will go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets, he'll leave, we'll forget about it. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would have told them that I want a bed of roses, chocolate, and music, maybe an Irish castle. But all I really wanted is her, and that's never going to be a reality. That's my fault, of course, because I was afraid, because I was a coward. They would never hold a candle to her. She was the light of my life, and I had to let her go. I can't even be bothered the thought of her. Just the single thought of her makes me my resolve to see the affair through waver.
Wait.
What is it now?
Yes, what is it now? What's it gonna be, Marianne? To sex or not to sex? Okay, look, if I didn't know that Luke was their client, I probably just let her do it, cause like, whatever. But knowing that I feel like this is bad. This is a bad idea. I'm sorry, I cannot go through with this.
We're both drunk.
And?
This is wrong. Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we?
Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Bloody hell.
Of course, he's annoying at me for putting off our sexual congress, but no means no. And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment that he might try to force something. God, if he did that, oh my god, I hope the ghost gets Luke. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing down his hair before making himself comfortable on the nearest seat he could find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on.
Yeah, Marianne, I would just kick this bitch out. Like, get out of my house.
Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
Kick him out! If this isn't for the absurdity of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laughed. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm, though. No dandelion. Without a second thought, I do wet the tea. That's 3 minutes to get the kettle to boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to a guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind? I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of the Troyes on Mallory. It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed, with mugs of tea in hand.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War? Terrorism? Famine? Poverty? Loved ones and loved lost. Oh, this whole world is a cesspool.
The dead air is telling when it fills the room once more. One would think that this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issue which has made us the fucked up person that we are today. And it is. But I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on somebody else's shoulder. Would it be fair to leave that person when I don't even know if we'll see each other again? Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. When I wake, whiskey's already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I find wasn't alone last night. Thanks for the tea, Marianne. Whiskey. How does he know that our name? Did he snoop through our things? Don't even question where these are from, or just how he knew my real name. I'm just grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. I have a job to do. Saturday. Oh my god. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job, but after meeting with the Wrights yesterday really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Wright. On top of all of that, they have somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't owe the Ermengarde Mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Rich people.
I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however, twiddle my thumbs and wait for the signal. It's not like I can accept the smaller project. This is a big job and I should be ready to start at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It wasn't a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm not doing it for the Ermengarde Mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I have a headache or whatever I do anyway. I go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap or logic, but a library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books for Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed the last time. Finding a new book or two to read to myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on Sunday morning, I find myself going to one library in Luxburn too. Hopefully cool off. After returning to Israel and the poetry book of Henry and the Pode Bratty, I asked the librarian about several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep other mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. I make headway at least, and when I asked about the Siegen rendition of Havana by Jacob de Pelusia, if you counted her snarling at the point of the history section at headway, that is. The history section has been devoid of any other except for myself and the redhead, though I'd wager I guess that the red's just passing to get some classical literature section. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
It's not the naval battle book I was looking for, no. It's even better. It's a newly acquired history of Luxembourg's architecture. First edition, too. I know I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on the book for so long. The fact that there is only one copy proves to be a problem, though, when Red reaches out for it at the same time as I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
Oh, hey, Rebecca! I can only stare at her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raised a brow at her in hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
That's a little bit rude. You know, I'm gonna be Marianne, that's a little bit rude to say. A beat. She blinks and I can't help but smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pierce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament. This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland, on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Suddenly, it's a game where we throw these history questions at the fact at each other, back and forth, in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while, it goes on for some strange competition into the strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slowly dies until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
Oh, God.
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
But then we had forgotten about our little tug of war, although she still holds the book in her hand. I had to let go without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Ah, yes, Saint Garates. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they had a very young student.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
Marianne, then.
I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It allows for some creative freedom, sure, but it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things. Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the Ermengarde Mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it.
Marianne gets off on architecture, as you can clearly tell.
Now that is beautiful architecture.
A pause. It looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet. I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly eye-tabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just outdate within a year when what I have is just as functional? The traditional ways had far more personal touch in my opinion, not to mention those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside, only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens. They're evil things that make typing, which should been a simple task, harder. Yeah, that's kind of true. Sometimes, touchscreens aren't the greatest.
I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Speaking or thinking of the devil seems to be some in it, because before I can carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes when she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives an apologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself, off farther into the aisles as she goes for some privacy. I do my best to give it as her as well, trying to tune her out.
Belle, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far, I can be there in 10.
But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
Oh, this is when she's gonna surprise me and be like, hey, I sold the house!
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she is still holding the history of Luxburn's architecture. I don't give her the time to think about it as I put a hand up and shake my head, fishing out my pen and paper from my bag along with my business card to hand them over to her.
I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it, but you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
She makes a quick work, penning her number down and hands it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day then.
You too.
With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book, our little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass by without even any of us realizing it. It was fun. I do have to believe I made a good new friend. Good job, Marianne! Even with talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. Even there are still books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the Wrights. Something like how to deal with arseholes professionally 101, just in case. I dealt with a lot of up-to-date, snooty and rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry, because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring me to keep me from my me time as my mobile vibrates in my pocket the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Already? How did they go through the process so fast? Surely there are so many red tapes to acquire the form and transferring the rights? No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Don't know. I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? Things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that even? There isn't even a point in trying to make a sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sades, The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This one is the 18th time, in fact. Jeez. But it's always nice to read through it again when I don't have the time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich, they just end up plain filthy, you need a good old Marquis sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
The wound being without any consequences. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequences when everything actually does. Briar Realty Corporation's Luxbourne's branch isn't too far off from the city center, just a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get the hands on the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely, no matter how much BNRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I am quite certain that in their haste to sell the property, they did rush the job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do, despite how it is frowned upon. There will be a lot of hidden issues that I will need to weed out, and I have to make sure that I have found every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on the top list one will have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely, so as long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. These two things are always made sure to referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. When I go up to BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should be back already if they still aren't flittering through the doors. I get that it's Saturday, that people probably feel tired and lazy working on weekends, but they're still on the clock, and not bumming about wasting company time and to extend lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious as it is these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what usually a 2 by 2 meter cubicle. There's a lot more empty chairs than there are actually people working at their desks. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Prozakov Projects during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But it isn't just that, though. Everything is quiet as a grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos comes through the door, looking as if she's just seen one. She looks at me, wide-eyed like a deer. Wait, what is this? Caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. I'd ask out of concern, but it feels like it's not my position to do so. What if it's something personal? I'd simply be overstepping my boundaries. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long. Don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste. I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
She flinches and looks at me like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards the station and goes to fetch the floor plan. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit. Time spent composing herself, most likely.
No, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you should be working, playing those mindless, addictive games. That's not very nice, Marianne, to judge people. I definitely wish Chris would stop playing with that Batcat thingy during work hours, too.
I know what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint. Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Wait, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Checking out the floor plans, I see that I have a lot going for me, and now that I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans for that one movie, this is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest is just a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms, the delicate harmony between the empty spaces. And speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about this one.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger. The scale is wrong. It's not much of a problem. And it is an old house.
There has been little details here and there that I would like to address during the open house too, but it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos' incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I shudder to think what sort of repairs they did to the place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed into the dark corner of the rooms, and hidden away in barrels, water damage that could have been covered up. There have been floods due to heavy rains in the West England just last year, after all. And if there are any sort of damage to the house foundation, that's going to be a lot of work. I was not being able to look at the attic as well. For all I know, the whole family of vermin could have made their nest there. Working the pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of this place is staggering, even if I did say it was a lot smellier than I thought. I might as well just be biting off more than I can chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John. I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own. Come on.
I had to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. How do I respond? You have something to say? I don't have time for this. Nah, I kind of want her to be nice with Isabella, you know? I'm sure they could get along. That's what I was doing with Bella too. Like, I was being nice to Marianne, so why not? I give her time to speak up. But when she just stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
As embarrassment creeps on her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take it a sip. Too hot.
Just thinking and speaking off the record, it must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that. But if you put it that way, it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
These big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
I didn't expect to hear such a question from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday. I didn't doubt then why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermengarde Mansion, despite the little accident she had. Oh yeah, her tumble down the stairs. Now she just looks too young, too nervous, and unsure of herself, although her enthusiasm makes it up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she hadn't introduced herself the way she did at the moment. Why, watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too, when I think about it. I thought she was a teen slumming it out on the mansion when I first saw her there lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise, she turns out to be one of the estate agents handling the property.
The clients usually support artists of their own choice. If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
They're very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
And yet, here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
Marianne, why are you being a bitch? Maybe I took that a bit too far. She bites her cheek, and it looks like she's barely holding herself back.
It's not like I had a choice.
She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. But it hurts, but the hurt's still there. And it makes me wonder what brought it on. Although it's understandable, if her reason is what I think it is, very few people have to make it big in the art world. I can see why she'd be upset about it, with that enthusiasm. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. Recession and the toll it took, the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being at the art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. And the sooner she accepts it, the better. I know, tough love, but, like, we don't know her. Like, they're not friends, right? It's different. You can't really say that to a stranger or someone you barely know. Still, with that foreign look on her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminded far too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not... I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to. Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh. I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about.
She's not. This is why I hate when people, like, judge other people, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what they're going through. Obviously, Marianne has no freaking idea the reason why Isabella stopped doing art was because her father's sick and she has to make money for him.
If you really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
It's not that simple.
It's not? Life's simple. People just like to make it complex. Speaking off the record, I have some advice for you, kid. Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else. That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable. Then by all means.
I get what she's saying, but she's saying it very, like, you know, she's being mean about it.
No, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Would you have left me alone?
We'll never know now, will we?
Oh god, a strained air settles in the room afterwards. It doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave, as she said, lingering awkwardly by the door with a downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life, or she's expecting me to dish out more of that advice. It's an awkward affair, and I could choose to hightail out of here, out of the realty office as quickly as I can. Jesus Christ, that was mean! Though I'm able to keep myself professionally at all times does not mean I like it, and seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realize it, I choose to head back to my flat instead, despite today being a Saturday. No fun, but at least this way I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling that I'll need to rest for the weekend can give me. For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work on the mansion, I cannot wait to be over and done with this project. Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before the last, I spent most of my Sunday drawing up my plans and calling my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I'm quite sure that they want high-end appliances and the most expensive materials and the most pretentious everything. They usually did, these rich types, based on the experience at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to prepare. I have to check myself, make sure I'm not playing with my gloves as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. It makes me self-conscious when the woman's eyes go over me, and I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance. But I'm saved from being a paranoid when they went up the first few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is nerve-wracking. The Wrights lived at the very top, the penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to a continuum of urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal of its own. I had to jump through so many hoops, so many security checks, a secure key card, not only because of the building management, but because of Wright's personal security. It's something felt like I'm being interrogated for crime, not visiting a client at their home. Even with their personal assistant called in to help out for verify my presence, the process is aggravating rather than hasting. Speak of the devil. The elevator door opens and I am greeted by none other than the whiskey's not so little lackey.
I do apologize if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting, but I'm here now and I'm ready, so if I may, where are they?
They've just woken up, but they should be down soon. I'm surprised to see you made it through security. And only 5 minutes late.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
About the tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
He shows me to the couch before drifting off towards the kitchen, quietly pulling out a teapot, cups, and all sorts of things in preparation for tea. I ignore the animosity towards his employer that his words implied. I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet and the isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case, soon apparently means no more than 5 minutes, or even 10. I sit in the living room just waiting. When the kettle starts to whistle and the tea has been served, I continue to wait. At least the silence is relaxing, but then there's a crash. I nearly spill my tea all over my lap in surprise, and I look up expecting security to come running. Even the man in the kitchen at the counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing. I don't want to speak up about it because it looks like far too absorbed in his cooking, and I don't want to be the cause of burnt food or worse. However, there is something in me that just wants to figure out what it was, although I am normally not this nosy. What should I do? Check it out, continue waiting. I feel like it's kind of like rude if we just go over there and look, you know what I mean? Because I don't think anything spooky is happening yet. So I feel like we shouldn't intrude. Let's just wait, because this is kind of awkward. I have no business with it. These rich people usually value the privacy above all else, after all. Unless, of course, they're posting pictures on social media, bragging about what they're good people they are for following themselves and to be interviewed for some magazine. Then again, the whole reason why I'm in this mess is because I don't give two shits about what's going on with people like them. And I'm going to get caught snooping about and be accused of something imagined wrongdoing. I'm not gonna be some busybody, detective wannabe, and run off to investigate whatever that was. It's probably just something mundane anyway, like a lamp falling over. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for Miss Wright, with my tea, in complete silence.
Could I at least put the telly on?
I don't really expect him to answer. If he hadn't even heard the crash, I doubt he would have heard me.
As long as you don't watch some silly soap opera, the LBC News would be fine. The William Walker show is on too, if you prefer that. Not that I watch it, but my husband does. The remote is under the coffee table.
Oh, sure. Maybe I'll be lucky and catch the doc on. I heard they're having reruns of the classics, and I want to see the second meet sixth in Spain. If not, just the news then. Thank you.
Oh
I'll
god,
let you
is
get
this
on with
when
your
Rose
cooking now.
dies? Did he just ignore the crash a while ago then? Whatever. Fetching the remote, I turn on the TV in hopes of filling silence. Trying to, anyway, because the thing won't turn on. And that doesn't make the silence any more awkward or what. I know I may not be the best with tech, but I'm sure I can work a simple television remote.
The batteries must be dead.
Oh, okay, I was wrong. The spooky stuff are already happening. Why is that girl blonde? Is that the girl that Marianne is talking about? What did I say? This girl is gonna use it against her. There's blood everywhere. Help me, it says in red. I look at my own hands and find them clean, yet I can see my grimly reflection gape back at me. And though there is nothing straining my skin, I can feel a sickly warm feeling of blood dripping down my cheeks. I should be worried. Instead, I feel my attention drawn out towards her. Her beautiful blonde hair, her soft lips, with skin so fair and swaying hips. I want nothing more than to hold her, plant my lips on her neck, and run my fingers through her hair. She laughs and she smiles when she looks at me, but where are her eyes? Temptation is gone in the instant I recoil, horrified at the reflection I am seeing. Only back into something, or rather someone. Wait, what? Miss Wright stands there, twirling a lock of her blonde hair, a soft smile on her lips, and a hand on her hip. I almost back away, but I ground and remind myself this is my client. And whatever I just saw, well, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that perhaps that I'm going a bit daft. It would be preferable, of course, to think that it was just a trick of the light. Why does everyone keep saying that? Or markings of an overactive imagination.
Good morning, Mrs. Wright. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Have you been standing there long?
So wait, was it Hannah standing behind her? And then the girl is like, hey, we're gonna kill Hannah!
No, I just came down and saw you were having a hard time with the telly. We must have forgotten to change the batteries. Are you alright, dear? You're looking a bit pale. Haven't you had breakfast yet?
No, I'm fine. I had breakfast already, Mrs. Wright. I just need...
Well then, you mustn't have had enough breakfast. I'm all for a good diet, but that's the most important meal of the day.
She's so sweet.
Johans is cooking up pancakes. Pancakes will make anyone feel better, he always says. We can sit down and tuck in. You'll feel right as rain once we get some fluffy, syrupy goodness in you. And are you sure you're fine, Marianne? You're shaking.
Looking down at my hands, I can see them trembling. Really? Just because she looks so much like her, I'm becoming a damn train wreck. I've been seeing her in my dreams and hearing her voice ever since I met Mrs. Wright at the mansion. With so many blondes in the world, what was different with her? What was different this time? I'm not feeling too well. I just remembered something. Well, I mean, we're there to, like, oh god, we have to be professional, right? No, I'm fine. Just remembered something.
I just remembered something, that's all. It's nothing to worry about.
Are you sure? I am all ears if there is something bothering you. I don't mind a good story, and I don't want it to affect your work performance.
Gossipy wagon, isn't she? She should just leave you alone. It's not like you need her.
You don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Wright. I say business stays business, and anything else can
Who is
stay in the
that?
doghouse until I'm done with work.
I just have to bear her through it, don't I? If I tell her that I'm hearing voices, that'll be a fast track straight to the nut house. What else can I do? Saint, Diphenim? Help me, at least I become like her father, Damon, insane at the thought of a lost love and mad in pursuit of another.
Shall we talk about your work then?
If you'd like. It's on your time, after all.
I've been told many good things about you, and I've seen some of your work before. Others speak very highly of your work etiquette, yet I've never heard of you before. Not even a whisper of the McCullough name.
Well, I've only been in Luxbourne for 4 years. Tried to make it big in London for nearly 3 years before, and I've only been working these high-quality projects for the past year.
I stick straight to the point. It's best to be brief when talking to clients after all. Keep it clean cut as much as possible. Yet at the same time, I had to make it engaging so it doesn't look like I don't want to talk to them.
I imagine it hasn't been easy. I can't see why you've moved from London to Luxbourne, though.
Job vacancies were fewer at the time, and I had a lot of competition in London. Let's not even talk about the living costs there. But I'm glad I moved here, even if it hadn't been smooth sailing. If I had it easy, I probably wouldn't be working projects like these.
Why even bother explaining to her? She won't understand. She's practically born with a silver spoon in her mouth.
So she hears... I still think it's her girlfriend or something. She hears her all the time in her head. But it's... I'm pretty sure she's not crazy. I think it's just her subconscious, like, playing with her because she's guilty about something.
The woman could probably snap her fingers and have servants attending to her beck and call.
She does look the part of a spotless heiress, doesn't she? It would be a relief if she's just that. Something that's different about Miss Wright and her. Before she can get to another word in, words that may have proven me wrong or right, she looks up at the loft with a fondness expression on her face. With just a simple glance, she seems to put so much love that I feel a tad bit jealous of her, whoever holds it.
Good morning, Luke, darling.
Good morning, ladies. What a wonderful morning it is. That
Yeah.
I wake up to such a beautiful sight. I do hope you two are getting along. I smell pancakes. I do hope you two are considering a diet just so I can have them all to myself.
Don't be a pig, Luke. You eat all of those and you might stop fitting into your tight suits.
What? I'm not a pig. You don't think I'm a pig, do you, Marianne?
With his saucy smile and playful wink, I can't help but think you are a bit of a pig, Whiskey.
I don't know, Mr. Wright. I'm an interior designer, not a zoologist.
The only styles she must be familiar with are statement of works.
Well, don't be a bore. You two might not be in a rush, but I'm going to go ahead and feast.
I feel like Luke is trying to, like... I don't know why. I feel like he's trying to use the fact that they almost slept with each other against Marianne. You know what I mean? It's just, oh god, I hope he doesn't use it to blackmail her later.
If you dawdle too long, he'll hog all the syrup.
Rich people are so eccentric.
Come on then, we can discuss business over food.
Okay guys, I'm gonna end this episode of the letter right here. So, I'm worried. I'm like really worried about Marianne because this is a lot difficult because it's kind of similar to Zach. The ghost girl was using the fact that his mother and father died tragically and he's using his nightmares, his daily nightmares, as a way to like play with him. Now the ghost girl is gonna use Marianne's girlfriend or dead girlfriend or whoever as a way to, you know, mess with her. So this is not good. And now we have Luke, and I'm kind of scared he might start blackmailing Marianne because he seems like the kind of guy who would do that if it would benefit him, you know? So that's not good. Taking a look at the relationship chart, it did go up with Henna. So I think it would have went down if we lied about, like, you know, if we told the truth about, oh yeah, I'm not feeling well, because she wants this interior design thing for the house so badly. And knowing that the bar went up with Luke, that's very interesting too. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, let me know in the comments what you think, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of The Letter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Dude, come on! Whoa! What? A lot of them don't get any credit they deserve, so today I'll be talking about 5 awesome video game sidekicks. Number 5. Dexter. Jak and Daxter series. Dexter, the